As you can see, this is really Ace. Hello. Did you miss me? Well, I missed y'all. And today, in the hot seat, we have a very special guest. This is Mr. AJ Shepard. He's a documentary film producer of such films as Chasing the Dream, about folks trying to make it in the entertainment industry and in Hollywood in general, which you can find on IMDb if you search Chasing the Dream and then click on videos. It'll come up and you can watch the whole documentary in its entirety. Check this out. He's got a new project coming up, which we're also going to talk about right now, called Beggars and Choosers, about Wall Street and the financial crisis and the whole everything that's been involved in that lately, which, as you know, is still very much in the news, especially given it's an election year. AJ,
yes.
Can we start out by telling the folks why you decided to do the current project?
Okay, the current project, Beggars and Choosers, the musical, was taken in consideration of the economic crisis that we recently experienced in America through the home mortgage loans and other junk loans that a lot of Americans seem to have been bamboozled into, which caused them to lose their homes to the banks, a crash at the stock market, and also we know that a lot of Americans are experiencing job loss as this result as well. So, in an effort to bring about awareness in the same type of movement that you had back in the 60s in terms of the economic crisis, and as far as the country moving forward for all Americans, we just thought we needed a resurgence of the movement and the ideas and the will of the people in order to take back what belonged to us as Americans as a whole.
All right. Now, along that line, the first thing that comes to my mind that I personally have to ask, because I've also read a lot of books. There's some interesting books by a guy named Michael Lewis about this whole subject, and I've been doing a lot of studying on this too. And it occurs to me that what you're saying, a lot of average Americans got one end of the stick on this, and yet there's, hundreds of thousands or who knows how many folks on Wall Street that almost look like they can do this without any sort of effort, or they make it look easy, and they make hundreds of millions or billions of dollars every year, and then you hear about the Wall Street bonuses on top of that, and Christmas is coming, and you're going to hear about all that. Now, it's almost like the preordained is basically canceling out the have-nots, which are the average Americans that went through everything that you're talking about. Now, I get, maybe you don't feel that way, maybe I don't feel that way, maybe we do. But what I'm getting at is, do you believe that it's still possible to make it in your chosen field without somebody or some entity or organization or somebody in a position to help facilitate things? Do you think that it's still possible to make it in an industry, any industry, without getting like the preordained tap, so to speak, of like, we're going to help you so that you succeed, so that you don't end up like the masses who speculate just the same as everybody else, but seem to come up with the short end of the stick?
And yes, I do. And here's the reason why. In the entertainment industry, unlike Wall Street follows a formula in terms of, and these are very smart business guys, financial bankers and investors.
Yeah, they all went to Ivy League schools or wherever it is,
So basically, they have a formula and they know how to manipulate the system to their advantage, where they can come off on top, and the average American is basically suffering the loss. So in that sense, it just comes down to greed.
Okay.
Although we're all Americans, but then you have those Americans who are greedy and want to take all of the pie. So in the entertainment industry, there's no formula to one making it. So you do have a chance and a possibility of making it, although there are obstacles. But because no one follows a real formula or practice in the industry, unless it's something like where it's making millions and millions of dollars at the moment in terms of, selling a movie as a product, where now they sell movies as packages. And then when that phases out, then they're looking off for the next best thing. Now, as someone who's an actor or musician in the music industry, or an actor that is following, the film or television, yes, one can make it because they beat the odds. That possibility is still there. But if it was a formula like Wall Street, then you would have to stick to the formula, and then everybody would be like on top. But it just doesn't work like that in the industry, in the film industry or the music industry.
That having been said, in Chasing the Dream, you had one gentleman who was on the grind every day, day after day, sending out photos, doing the whole thing, doing the legwork, putting in the elbow grease, trying to make it in the business. And then toward the end of the film, you had the lady in the band who basically said, don't, kill yourself doing stuff like that. Just go out and do stuff and actually do it, and it'll happen. Do you see similarities between average Americans speculating on these bubbles and everything that was involved in the financial crisis, and Americans speculating on whether or not they can be discovered and make it in the business, and basically as far as the entertainment industry goes, and do you see similarities at all between the vast amounts of power and wealth and what have you that people are trying to attain on Wall Street, and the same type of thing in the entertainment industry? Do you see any similarities between the two projects in that regard?
Yes. They're very symbiotic in relationship. But here's the difference that you have. You have one that is passion driven, and in that event where you have the young lady speaking about just doing it, when you're doing something passionately, there's no risk involved of failure. You see.
Okay.
Now, when you're doing it from a Wall Street perspective in terms of making the money, the failure is you losing the investment.
So what you're saying is it's kind of more black and white. Either you fail or you don't.
Exactly. And now in the entertainment industry, you just take that risk. Most likely you want to be on the risk of passionate side because you love what you're doing, whether you're successful or not. You're doing it for the art value. You're doing it for the passion of what you're expressing and want to project as an artist. So there's no failure and there's no risk involved. Now, however that takes you and where it takes you is always going to be extraordinary. Now, most people going into the business aspect, when they bought these homes, most people bought these homes because they wanted to make a profit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they were going into it with the wrong reason.
Mm-hmm.
You see, they couldn't afford it, but they were trying to make a quick dollar, and
Just
yet
flip it and
trusting our investors and trusting our bankers that would make the right decision for them to make a quick dollar, and that didn't happen.
Well, we're coming up on the end of our time, so I wanted to take the opportunity to have you say where they'll be able to see the current project, Beggars and Choosers, and just throw your website plug in there and everything like that during the last few seconds, so that they can get a hold of you and learn about the projects.
Okay, well, if you want to check out our latest in Beggars and Choosers, the musical, you can go to the website www.beggarsandchoosersmusical.com. and you can check out clips of the documentary.
Nice.